beautiful soul. Welcome. This is Rochelle with the Healing Rose, and we're looking at the Animal Guide Rune Cards by David Lipka and Bartosz Mazik. So this is actually quite a heavy box. So 25 cards, but 288 pages in the guidebook. It says, embark on a magical journey as you unlock the wisdom of nature in ancient Norse runes with the Animal Guide Rune Cards. This captivating deck weaves together the potent symbolism of fox deers and owls, bats and badgers, merging the power of the animal kingdom with the esoteric mysteries of runic lore. Discover the profound and practical insights offered by each of the 25 strikingly illustrated cards and accompanying messages, illuminating every aspect of your life, from relationships to health to career choices. The comprehensive guidebook also includes instructions for creating spellbinding runic talismans and reveals the connections between the runes and tarot, astrology, and the chakras. Immerse yourself in the wisdom of the runes and delve into the mythic and cultural philosophy they embody. Divine your destiny by journeying into the enchanting realm of the Elder Futhark, allowing your animal guide to lead you every step of the way. So at first I resisted getting this deck, totally honest, because of this fox deer. I was like, oh, it's a little deer. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's like a fox. That's a fox face. I was like, and honestly, it put me off because I'm not into like the crazy imaginarium menagerie stuff. Like, that's just not my thing, right? But I love the colors that were chosen. So this is a Blue Angel deck, and there's only 25 cards because there's only 24 runes, and they include a weird rune. So the book. I'm going to be honest here. Even though I may not 100% agree with some of the definitions and things that are in here, and maybe some of the way that they approach certain runes, the guidebook is worth its weight. Like, as a standalone book, this is fantastic. So just right off the bat, I am going to say I'm very impressed by the guidebook. So this is a 2004 deck. So it gives us the introduction, talks about runes, the basics of rune casting, cartomancy, meditations. Then it gets into the meaning of the runes, and there's honestly maybe about 8 pages, 6 to 8 pages on each rune. Then there's in the appendix a table of magical applications, advanced runic techniques, and then a little page about the authors / artists. So it's a partnership between the two. One, their animal is the deer, and the other one is the fox. Hence, they created the fox deer as sort of a little sort of signature for their work together. So it is a beautiful, lovely, lovely book. Here's hoping that my even the spreads, they show sample spreads. Like, here's an example of the spread. So here's your thing that you're doing. Here's a sample of the spread, and they give you the little full color samples. Simplified Celtic cross, and then a breakdown so that you kind of get an idea of how to work with the different layers of the cards. Because here's the thing, let's pick one. So here we have the Ansus, knowledge, speech, intelligence, and it gives like a little blurb that relates to the image, and then it talks about the lore of that rune. And then it talks about what the message is. If we're having a reading about a specific person, if you're having the reading about a place, a time, a relationship, career, health, or if you want to use it in magic. And then correspondences, card iconography, the people that are represented by this specific rune, and what kind of location, like, is, in this case it would be a school or a university, because it is a rune about like knowledge and having knowledge transmitted. And then it continues, like, there's a lot of information for each rune, and I like the way it's organized. It's quite the substantial book. So we start here, the meaning of the runes, and it goes back to here. So that much of this book is all just about these 24, right? Or in this case, 25. So about the 25 cards. I mean, that's a lot of information. So I will say, if you're interested in runic work, I would almost say it's worthwhile for the price of the deck that you're getting this book. So let's take a look at the cards. They are a little taller and narrower than I would expect from Blue Angel. Where's my other Blue Angel deck? So they've done this with a couple of decks recently. Oh, it's not nearby. It's under a stack of things. How ill prepared am I for this, right? So it is a little narrower than usual, but that actually makes it really easy to grab hold of and work with. They're usually just a little bit wider. So gorgeous. The backs are beautiful. We have this kind of like tanned leather look. We have all the runes done in a lovely wheel for us. They are fairly substantial. Like it's good cardstock. I really expect good cardstock from Blue Angel. If I'm being really honest, I expect it to be great because generally it is. I really like Blue Angel decks. Just being honest. All right, so for our first rune, so we have Fehu. It represents wealth, abundance, and work. And so we have this beautiful display of abundance across the oxen, which it typically represents like a cow or a cattle. And then we'll see the little rune hidden in the forehead. And so in each card, we do have to hunt for the rune. And I think that honestly is my only pet peeve with this deck. Right here, it's quite highlighted, so it's easy to see. So if you're not familiar with the runes and you're having to hunt and look and you're like, okay, where is it? Like, where is it going to be hiding? You know, and it's in here somewhere. Like, it's kind of like a crazy, like, where's Waldo? But you're looking for the rune. So, it's like, it's a little bit of a, until you kind of like, once you've gone through the deck a couple times and you're familiar with the runes, then you'll be like, okay, you'll spot it right away each time. And some of them really stand out, like Hina's. It is like their artwork is lovely though. They're really fantastic illustrators, I think, and I think they've done a great job with the book. So even though I was kind of like, you know, this drooling dog, it's like it's drooling honey. There's some sort of like happiness, luck, delight. It's, yeah. So we have just a really, I think, lovely representation. It is quite large for a rune deck. I quite like I have a little tiny animal rune deck that I really personally love, but I do love the illustrations in this. I don't mind these sort of these geometric, almost mandalas that we have going on. You know, there's slight variations between cards, so we're not looking at the same shape being repeated. Maybe it's a little alchemical at times. So it gives us some really interesting imagery to work with, I think. I think it is quite lovely. I think the colors are quite beautiful to work with. I think the book is great. I'm going to say it again. I really think the book is great. So I do definitely think that this is well worthwhile. Here we see the little rune in his side. On some of them, they just like pop right out, you know, and on others they don't. And there is no rune on this card because it is the weird. I think it's interesting that they've put this great big green snake on here in this kind of swampy area because it doesn't really, to me, it's kind of like, doesn't really encompass the essence of the weird. And I think it's an interesting kind of choice, maybe. But, you know, I'm not the deck creator, so who am I to say anything? I love the backs, though. These backs are stunning. They're absolutely beautiful. All right, let's go. Bonk. All right, let's try not to bump the camera too much. Extra special talented there. All right, so let's just grab a card. I mean, it shuffles well. It shuffles nicely overhand because the cards are easy to grasp. This is about the same width as I think a hay house. So it's, yeah, it's the same. It is basically just slightly, like, you know, maybe like a millimeter or two. So it's not that far off, which actually makes it quite comfortable to handle. There's a lot of, definitely a lot of the older Blue Angel decks I do find I don't use as much because they're just so large and awkward for me, for my hand size. As beautiful as they may be, they're just not super often used. So let's take that one because it's poking itself out there. All right, oh look, the weird. Okay, so let's see, what do we have to say about the weird? I love the concept of the weird. I love the idea of it. Look at that big, huge, beautiful, full, crazy. Yeah, so that's why I was thinking that was why they chose it. So karma, destiny, the unknown. Look, a new life arises in the swamps of death. Look, the viper sheds its skin to be born again, to live, transform, and die endlessly. This is the destiny of all beings. We all dance to the rhythm of cosmic contraction and expansion. The snake catches its own tail and becomes a wheel. And then it gets into the lore of the weird, which is, there's a lot. I recommend getting the book. I recommend buying the deck if you want to read the rest of the book. Let's read the message because there's a lot here. I don't feel like it's fair to just sit here and read 8 pages out of the book. Some believe that each of us is the master of our own destiny. That may be the case, but what if a tyrant takes control of the lives of innocent citizens? Can the people who have been enslaved change their destiny? Or maybe it must have been their fate? Weird is peculiar when it comes to its meaning. For a large number of people working with runes, the presence of this symbol in the spread means that the questioner, the querent, is not yet ready to know the answer to the question asked. If we decide to explore the meaning of the weird, we should expect the answers to be unconclusive and vague. So all you will read next, dear reader, is mainly our guesswork, dedicated by intuition. So, if it's about a person, because we're all just people watching this, representing the person, weird would probably be a stranger, someone we know nothing about, like a blank slate that can become both a positive or negative influence in the future. Often it is a person who is hard to pass by indifferently because they have some mystery that intrigues us. They are also extremely eccentric and strange in their own way and will surely leave a mark on our memory after the meeting. Sounds kind of interesting, right? The weird's kind of like the super particle or Schrodinger's cat. Like, you know, it's as long as it's out there, it's like this unknown thing. It could be anything. It's like infinite possibilities. Yeah, the weird is such a fascinating subject. So interesting to have that be our card that was pulled out. I know definitely some people have different views of what the weird is, right? The weird, to me, the weird is the space between molecules, the space between atoms. Like, it's that there's space, but it connects everything at the same time, right? It's like not just the air we breathe. It's not just this unknown ether, but it's literally like that. It's like the energetic fiber that holds the universe together in a way. It's like, I love the weird. I love the concept of it. I think it's fabulous. So I do really like this little deck. I think it is quite sweet. I think it's really interesting. I've worked with it a little bit. More so, I've spent time in the book because I think the book is quite interesting. So It is, it is a beautiful book to look at. It's full of like really interesting information. I love that we have these close-up little portraits, these adorable little animals. I just think it's really, really sweet. So in any case, if you are still watching at this point in time, thank you so much for taking the time to sit and watch through this. And I hope this has given you some insights into this fun little deck. I know it's like, it's not one of those hugely like well-known or talked about. I think maybe because it's runes, maybe because it's new, you know, but it's not like it's, you know, it's maybe a little bit more niche, but I think it's very, very cool. So, you know, maybe this inspires you to explore the runes a little bit more, I hope. In any case, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an amazing day and an absolutely fabulous week. Take care.